Happening APLers here with a week 7 preview. Had some trades happen since the week 6 review went down, which significantly impacts this matchup here, which is Tank versus Ryan to get started for the week. So we got Tank Dell on Ryan's team leading the way, and Kyron Williams for Tank. So pretty nice matchup this week. So Ryan leads the all-time series 16-12. Ryan and Tank both 2-4 in a big matchup over in Jake's division there for potentially sole possession of the third playoff spot. Solomon has something to say about that too. He can be tied for whoever wins this one, but big game for either of these. Obviously, Tank's going to be favored in this one, but we'll talk a little bit about how Ryan might be able to get there. So look at the totals here. We get Ryan rolling Josh Allen. Josh Allen gets Amari Cooper this week, and maybe that helps. I don't know if it helps right away this week, but it can't hurt having a guy there. I would guess his routes will be limited, and his understanding the offense is limited, but still, Josh Allen did. Amari Cooper sounds good. The Titans defense doesn't sound super good. They've been good. They're the third best in the league. And the most they've given up is 328 to Malik Willis. And that was kind of a weird game, but otherwise it's the totals aren't great. They held Flacco under 300, which sounds weird, but he'd been over 300. Embarrassed Caleb Williams week 1. They haven't played the best quarterbacks, but still point totals are there that are low. So I'm sure it's the best spot. And the Bills haven't been throwing the ball a ton. So we'll see if that changes this week. Running back, we got Bigsby against the Patriots early morning. I don't know, just the lack of pass game involvement here was concerning last week. The Patriots definitely can be taken advantage of on the ground. So I think there's some hope. Zach Moss seemed to have lost the handle on any carries after he fumbled on Monday night for the Bengals, but again, maybe that was just a 1 week thing. The Browns defense, not super scary, not like super great. It's an okay matchup. You just have to see if he has a volume. The rest of the running backs, Roshan Johnson's on bye, and we have Cam Akers and Myles Gaskin here. Ryan hoping for an Aaron Jones injury to take advantage of, but looks like Aaron Jones is going to play. So I guess Aaron Jones probably sneaks into the lineup here in place of Moss or Bigsby. At the wide receiver spot, Tank Dell moves over from my team over to Ryan's. He's got a good matchup against the against the Packers on the road with Nico out. He's, not the one. Diggs is the one, but a close one, close number 2 there. So good matchup there. Deontay Johnson against Commanders is a good matchup too. He's questionable, but I think I just heard he's supposed to play on Sunday. So Commanders definitely can get ripped apart. Good matchup there. Alan Lazard now becomes the third receiver for the Jets. So maybe not a ton of upside there. Ertz against Carolina, sure, it's fine. $140 last week, so why not? Carolina can that Panthers Commanders game should be good for point scoring. Kickers and defense is there, and move over to Tank side. Gino against the Falcons, 344 is a big number, and that game looks like it could be fun too. Seahawks are missing a fair amount of their defense in the defensive secondary, so maybe we could get a little shootout action here. And it's like Tank and I were talking about last week. The Seahawks came out saying we're going to run the ball, and then they decided that they couldn't run the ball and just turned into Geno time the whole second half. So maybe they start out that way. Now the running backs look strong for Tank. James Cook should play this week. Those are all the signs say he should play. Jets are kind of middling in the defense there, but it's James Cook scores points. Kyron gets the Raiders. The Raiders pretty bad with the run defense, so really good spot for a guy who's just going to get fed the ball. So good good outlooks there at running back. Wide receiver Tink has Addison in now. I'm assuming Ayuk gets moved in there because he just traded for him. I'm assuming you start the guy that you trade for, although the Chiefs matchup is tricky. And Addison against the Lions is not tricky. Lions definitely uh, get shredded through the air. So maybe Addison is the start even with the newly acquired Ayuk. Zay Flowers goes Monday night against the Ravens, another defense that the Bucks defense. Sorry, Zay Flowers plays for the Ravens. He plays against the Bucks. The Bucks defense, another one that's bad against the pass, and another game that should be fun. Good spot. Then Jaden Reed against Houston. It's all right. Just depends on if he's going to get all the targets. I mean, he had 6 catches last week on 6 targets for 28 yards and a touchdown. I don't know, he seems like he's boomer bust, but he's not really. I mean, last week he had a 54 last week and a 48 in week 2. Otherwise, he's been really good. So I'm too much bad to say there. Tucker Kraft, off week last week. Prior 2 weeks was excellent. Texans have the best defense against tight end so far this week, although Hunter Henry got him for 105 last week. So I think that the Texans and Packers game is big for a lot of matchups here. And obviously we have Dell on Ryan's side of the ball here, and then we have Reed and Kraft for Tank. So that one's interesting that potentially could swing things here. Tank has Reichert kicking in what should be a high scoring game. And then the defense looks good. I don't know how to say that dude's name, Paulson Debo or whatever. His legs got ripped apart on Thursday night. And I think that's about it. So we get Tank ahead by a healthy margin here with 130 points. So I think his balanced scoring is going to overcome the guys that Tank or that Ryan has traded away here. Is missing Godwin and Chase. He traded Ferguson. Ferguson's on bye. So maybe those 2 guys make up some points here and give Ryan a little more higher. Give Ryan a higher upside chance, but they're gone. So I think Tank gets this one. Next matchup is me versus Greg. So I lead the all-time series 23-14. And look at the points. So Dak is on bye, so Baker Mayfield steps in against the Ravens. Should be fine unless the Ravens can just control the ball and not give Baker any time or any time on the clock to pass. Mayfield's been good. He's had a couple of weeks where he's been under 300, but has been solid. So Ravens defense looks pretty bad. So on paper, looks like a good matchup. Dobbins against the Cardinals, another one that looks like on paper looks like a good matchup. He had a ton of carries last week with Gus Edwards out. Kamani Vidal got involved a little bit, but Dobbins still had 25 carries. So we'll take that volume against the Cardinals and see what happens. Mixon was back last week and looked pretty good. The Packers matchup isn't the best, but again, with the volume, I'm going to start that guy. Chase and Godwin for the big trade with Ryan this week for me. Chase gets the Browns. Not the best matchup there. I take that back. Browns matchup is fine. Just a little worried about that game being slow, and I don't really like Jamar Chase, so he better be good. Chris Godwin against the Ravens, good spot. Hopefully the Mayfield Godwin combo works on Monday night. And then Drake London gets the Seahawks, who are missing their top corners, and seems to be becoming a favorite of Cousins, especially in the red zone. So Trey McBride had a really nice week last week. It's the Chargers who are susceptible to the tight end. A lot of that is a big game to Kelsey and a big game to Bowers. So hopefully McBride can continue that run with good against good tight ends. But Chargers are going to try to grind the clock, and Arizona's offense just doesn't stay on the field for a long time, and their defense can't get off the field. So Fairbairn has been good kicking. He'll be at Lambeau this week, and then the defense is a bunch of guys that are supposed to be good, and we'll see what happens. I don't really have a lot of faith. Over on the Greg side of the ball, Greg made a trade today to trading away Ayuk and for a 9th-round pick, acquiring Pittman, who's not in the lineup. Maybe it will be, not sure. So looking at Greg's matchup here, we get Purdy against the Chiefs. Chiefs defense has been solid. Purdy also been solid. His low is 261 and a 296. Otherwise, he's over 300 every week. And he's just going to score points. He's good. The game could be fun, could be not fun, but I think the 49ers will put out a good showing. So Purdy will have a good number. Connor against the Chargers. Seems fine. Chargers are really good against the run. And Connor's been good every week other than last week in week 3. So still think Connor will get his stuff. Madison looked solid last week for the Raiders. He put up 90 points against a tough Steelers defense. He's involved both on the ground and in the passing game. So against the Rams, who pretty bad at defense, especially against the run, is in a good spot. Other guys in a good spot, Demario Douglas. He was a favorite target last week for Trevor Lawrence. Favorite target last week for Drake May. He's going to play the Jags, who have Trevor Lawrence this week. Again, from London. So Demario Douglas looks like a good spot because the Jags don't defend the pass. And Xavier Legette, same spot. Commanders cannot defend the pass. And in a game that could feature a lot of scoring, Legette could be one of those guys. And then in Jigba against the Falcons, kind of the same thing. Thinking maybe the Falcons in Seahawks game scores a lot of points, and JSN can be part of that. So I think all those matchups are solid. Mark Andrews against the Bucks. He has come to life the past 2 weeks. It's a fun game. Bucks don't defend the tight ends very well, so good spot for Andrews. Kickers and defense are there. The projections here are pretty lopsided my way, but I think the Greg's matchups look pretty good, and we'll see how it works out. So I think I'll get the win. We have a lot of people going on Monday night, so we'll be watching the scoreboard here. I have Baker and Dobbins and Godwin and McBride, and Greg will have James Conner, Andrews, and McLaughlin going. So we'll have a lot going on Monday night. It'll be fun. All right, next matchup here is Solomon versus Daggy. So Solomon again rolling with the man Christian Watson in his lineup. Solomon leads the all-time series 7-3. So run through the totals here quick. Jordan Love gets the Texans. They're not getting crushed by the pass like at all. They have given up a max of 331. That was last week to Drake May, who was playing in catch-up mode the entire game. And 327 to Anthony Richardson in week 1, which is a lot of deep passes. But otherwise, they've held Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, and Josh Allen in check. So it doesn't seem like a huge week is in store for Jordan Love. Solomon gets a newly acquired Najee Harris up against the Jets. Jets run defense is middle of the road. They can be beat. Najee had a nice week last week. Obviously, Ray Davis had the huge catch against them last week to get over 100. Otherwise, I got a couple guys that have been over 100 points. Pollard and Jordan Mason here. So I think it could happen for Najee, but it's a little tougher matchup. And we'll see what happens with Russ Wilson starting, if that changes anything for Steelers offense for better or for worse. Chuba's been great so far this year. Gets the Commanders. That's a nice spot. Diggs against the Packers. Diggs is the de facto 1 right now with Nico out, so he's been solid. He's catching passes. He's right around 100 points pretty much every week except for week 2. So you got to feel really good about Diggs in a game where you feel like the Texans are going to need to score some points. JJ against the Lions is an awesome spot. I think he's the highest projected receiver everywhere. Really, really strong start here. So then the Solomon has some choices here with Christian Watson versus Garrett Wilson. So his Devontae Adams ingrained in the offense enough now that he's going to take away from Garrett Wilson. Doesn't matter because Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers have played so much. So um, it really comes down to, is there a lot of upside on Garrett Wilson against Pittsburgh? It's probably no. There's more upside with Christian Watson against the Texans. Just he's the deep ball threat. There may need to be a lot of scoring in this game. So Watson's the start here for Solomon. Kelsey against 49ers. They're back off the bye. And probably going to need to score a lot of points to beat the 49ers. So it's a good spot. But Curl kick a bunch of field goals. The defense is there. On the Daggy side of the ball, we get Jaden Daniels against the Panthers. Seems like they should steamroll them, but the Panthers have been able to fight back a little bit. So Daniels is number one quarterback for the week. Running backs are really good. Saquon gets the revenge game against the Giants. And Giants have been decent against the run so far this year, but I think they're like missing a bunch of guys up front. So I'd like to think the Eagles are going to feature Saquon in a revenge game against his old team. Brees was back on the map on Monday night against with the new coach. So I think that that's going to be the plan again this week. Steelers defense is a little bit scary, but lately they have been able to be beat. So Jonathan Taylor went 131 against him a couple weeks ago. Rico Dowdle got 136 against him 2 weeks ago. Then Madison had 90 against him last week. So it can be done, and Brees can do it. Receivers look strong. Evans in that Ravens Bucks game, which we talked about being a fun one. DK against the Falcons. He definitely wants to be involved more. Saw that from the sidelines last week. Throw past the sticks or throw it to me, whatever he was saying. So I think that he's going to get AJ Terrell. So it'll be interesting to watch that. Amon-Ra, I was just listening to some stuff talking about how Amon-Ra excels against the Flores defense because we blitz so much that Amon-Ra is the guy who's going to catch all of those hot reads and quick passes. So maybe this is an Amon-Ra day tomorrow. And Evan Ingram is back with the force last week. Gets the Patriots. Just a good spot. He's just good. He's going to catch a lot of passes. Daggy gets the waiver wire week fill-in kicker for Brendan Aubrey, and Will Lutz does his best Brendan Aubrey impression. Kicks 4 field goals for Daggy, including the 52-yarder for 183 points. Really, really nice kicker pickup for the week. Defense looks good. So this comes out to is the high point total for the week projected here for Daggy, and a solid total for Solomon, but not quite there. So I think Daggy's hot start is too much. The 183 kicker is really strong. Packers game makes it interesting, but in prime time, we get Brees on Sunday Night Football against Najee, who closes the gap a little bit, and then Mike Evans wins it. Move to 4-3. All right, now we get the 2 fun matchups that are going to determine who is leading our divisions after this week. So the first matchup we get is the super team versus Corey. So Corey leads the all-time series 19-11. Super team's rolling with Burrow against the Browns. So what offense do we get from the Saints? From the Bengals? Do we get the one that did very little on Monday night, or do we get the fun one from the last few weeks? That's a big question to answer for this week to see how this whole thing turns out. Browns have not been crushed really, except for the last 2 weeks, to Jaden Daniels for 344 and Jalen Hurts for 353. So can Burrow do that? Can the Browns offense stay on the field long enough to and score enough points to actually have the Browns or the Bengals have to score? Going to be interesting to see how the Burrow to Higgins connection works. Gibbs against the Vikings. Vikings rush defense has been pretty solid, so maybe that's not a huge smash spot. Maybe he's involved in the receiving game. Maybe Montgomery should be the start here over Gibbs because he is outscoring him on the season, but Gibbs is way more fun. Ken Walker gets the Falcons. Really like Ken Walker. He's fun. Falcons rush defense has been good. And Walker's catching a ton of passes, so it's a good start. Jordan Mason is alive and well. Maybe he sneaks in. Tough matchup against the Chiefs. Super team, just embarrassment of riches. It's hard to pick who to start. It's not hard to pick who to start at wide receiver, though. So T. Higgins is in because he's healthy. Devonta Smith, very good. Had a nice touchdown last week, going off of the concussion. Gets the Giants. It should be fine. And then Waddle gets the start because you have to with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. It's not a great outlook. Colts is a good outlook. They tend to score a lot of points and give the other team the ball a lot. They don't really defend the pass, so maybe we can get a deep ball here to Waddle. Brock Bowers, like the number one receiver for the Raiders now. Not really sure if that's a good thing or not, but it being the number one receiver for the Raiders probably isn't the best. But if that's your tight end, it is the best. So Bowers looks the number one projected tight end for the week. Good spot. The Young Ho has been kicking a lot of field goals, and defense is fine. The Corey side of the ball, Mahomes against the 49ers. I think this is probably where this matchup is decided. How does this game flow go here? Is the Chiefs 49ers game slow, or is it there are a lot of points scored? Corey's going to want it to go the lot of points scored direction. So we got Mahomes to Juju. Juju's doing his best Rashee Rice impression there, playing the slot receiver. Looked good the last time we saw him play, and we'll see if that continues. He also has Kittle on the other side of the ball. So if we get scoring up in this game, I think this is Corey's path to winning this week. Eckler gets to start again at running back. Sounds like Brian Robinson's back. Robinson is back, and maybe that cuts into the Eckler share, but not sure who else would jump into the starting lineup here for Corey. Chubb is back this week, but maybe it's a little too early for him to be relied on in our fantasy lineups. Josh Jacobs against the Texans is the lead running back for Corey. Texans are a tough draw on the defensive side, so maybe not the upside there. AJ Brown always has upside. Gets the Giants. Just always a good start. Doesn't really matter the matchup. Gets Mooney against Seattle. You know, talked about Seattle having their top corners out, so good spot for Mooney. We'll see how that game goes. We talked about Juju and Kittle and McPherson. So the numbers are going to say that the super team is going to get the win here, but it's pretty close. 80-ish points for Ross. So I think it comes down to those quarterback wide receiver stacks. Is the Burrow connection to Higgins working? Does Burrow need to pass the ball a lot in that game? How does that game go versus the 49ers and Chiefs game? So I think those are really gonna dictate it. Also interesting that the majority of the super teams lineup here plays all at noon, and Corey is done with the 3:00 games. So we'll have Roquan going on Monday night and see what he needs to get to win, or if victory's already in hand. All right, and the final matchup for the week is the big one. We get Jake versus Sade. So Sade leads the all-time series 21-13. And Jake's team has got some dudes back this week. And see how that works. So we'll run through that here. Lamar against the Bucks, really good spot. I think he is the number 2 quarterback for the week. Really close, maybe tied with Jaden Daniels or second, very close second. The Bucks matchup is solid. They are giving up plenty of points against the pass. They're averaging giving up 350 a week. A lot of that goes into that 621 from Cousins, but they even gave up 292 to Spencer Rattler last week. So good spot for Lamar in a game that should feature a lot of points. Kareem Hunt against the 49ers is, I mean, hindsight, Jake has 154 points from Javonte Williams on the bench, which I don't think anybody would have predicted that. But the 49ers isn't the best matchup against a run, but Kareem Hunt is going to get all the volume, so you got to start him. Kamara doesn't do a lot on Thursday night. 30 points, definitely the low for the year, and allegedly asked Sean Payton to come get me after the game. So interesting. The Jets did go get Devontae Adams, and his hamstring is magically better, and he's going to start this week. So Jake's got him in the lineup over Christian Kirk or Wan'Dale Robinson. So why not? Why wouldn't you put him in the lineup? Gets to play with his old dude. Probably wants to prove that he's still got it. So Devontae's in against the Steelers, and we'll just have to see how that goes. And we're gonna get all the hype, and everybody's gonna be able to watch it on Sunday Night Football. And Tyreek gets the Colts. Really great matchup. Same thing we talked about with Waddle. Great matchup. Can anybody get him the ball? It only takes one deep ball to get Tyreek over the 100-point mark for the week. So always a threat. Probably be better next week. Tyler Lockett gets the start at the third wide receiver spot. He's been fine so far this year. I think hasn't been over 100 points yet, as high as 89. So he's kind of hovering in that 60, 70, 80 point range. So that's what we're looking for from the third receiver. Freiermuth probably has one more week in the starting lineup before Jake Ferguson takes over. Not a lot of great things to say about Freiermuth. Austin Seibert's been really good kicking the ball for the Commanders. It's a bright spot there. Defense for both these guys looks solid. On the today side of the ball, I get CJ Stroud against the Packers. And it's just really hard to know how this game's going to go. Packers are middle of the road against the pass. Jalen Hurts got him in week 1, Darnold in week 4, but those are only for 341 and 350. So maybe there's not a huge high end here for Stroud, especially with Nico out. Henry against the Bucks should be fine. Derrick Henry's the number 1 running back. Not a lot of people are just going to slow him down. Gets all of the volume. He's going to score a touchdown. Looks great. Bijan against Seattle should be fine too. They haven't been able to defend the run very well. So really good spots for both the running backs. McLaurin against the Panthers, I think that's fine too with potentially that game shooting out. I have a hard time believing the Panthers can keep up, but the Commanders are definitely going to score. And McLaurin has been very good lately. So 124, 79, 108, 99. So got to feel confident with that. Malik Neighbors is back. Gets to take on the Eagles and is going to regain his alpha status in the Giants offense. So just a fun player to watch. Should be a good matchup. The Eagles are pretty bad against the pass. Giants are definitely going to be behind. So lots of volume that way. Debo against the Chiefs. We'll see. Chiefs defense is solid. Debo's really good too, but just depends how that offense rolls. Laporta's in the lineup against the Vikings, so the target volume is not great. 15 targets total for the year for Laporta, kind of been the forgotten man. However, the last 2 weeks that he's played, he's been 110, 125. So see if he can keep up his triple-digit scoring. Tucker's fine. Defense is solid on today's side. He has the best projected defense for the week. So this comes out to a Sade win here. A little over 125 points. So I think Sade takes control of the division as Henry takes control of Monday Night Football with I think the Hill Adams combo is probably a week away with getting Devontae ingrained in the Jet system a little more, getting Tua back for Tyreek, and then throw Ferguson in at tight end for Jake. Things are a little better. So quick rundown, week 7. I get the win over Greg, Daggy over Solomon, Super Team over Corey, Tank over Ryan, Sade over Jake. That's all I got. Talk to you guys later. Hope everybody survives the week and there's no in-week injuries other than Tank's guy who already got hurt. All right, later.